Good afternoon, everyone. Can we all be on stage, please? All my panelists. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I am Shadab Taiyabi, President of the Singapore FinTech Association. I think let's just dive deep into the session right away. We've all heard about the advent of AI and the various new emerging technologies and how it's all going to change the world. But let's focus on the talent pool. How are we building a future-proof skill set going forward? So I think Yongliang took away a couple of my liners earlier. We were going to talk about our SFF FinTech Talent Report, which was released 2 days ago. It actually says that the workforce in FinTech in Singapore has grown to 18,000 people as of now, which is 30% increase from last year. And it is further expected to grow by another 30% in the next 1 or 2 years. So these are all good positive signs for the workforce. And of course, there is a data point on AI. The number of AI engineers demand is going to increase by 10% in the next 1 year, and cybersecurity is another skill set which will be increasing by 7%. So all these are some data points to talk about here, but I am very privileged to have our panelists today. So let's just spend a couple of minutes each to just quickly give a minute each, probably, to give a quick round of introductions. Maybe we can start with Nicola.
The far side, huh? I'll try to be very short. My name is Nikola Pavasic. It's a bit hard to pronounce, and I didn't cut my hair since the photo, as you can see there. But I'm a director of developer experience and startups at Infobip. Infobip is a leading global company for customer engagement. Basically, in basic terms, if you have a digital business, if you can communicate with your customers, we enable that through any channel, whether it's SMS, voice, video. WhatsApp, Line, Kakao Talk, you name it, Zalo, and then you use our products every day. We reach 7 billion people with our technology and platform, but you just don't know it. It's very hidden. It's B2B. In terms of people, we have, and this is the reasons why I'm here. We have a lot of offices around the world, about 75 now. Very big presence in Southeast Asia, South Asia, East Asia as well, but also Africa, Latin America, etc. And we have about almost 4,000 people now. We're one of the few bootstrap unicorns around the world, which is very unique. And then we cover a lot of markets and cultures, so that's also very...
I have to say this, the number of offices you have, I think the best possible client for you yourself is yourself.
Yeah, that too. We use our products too, like dog feeding, yeah.
Please, Pei.
Hi everyone, I'm Pei, and I'm from LinkedIn APAC. So LinkedIn is the world's largest professional networking platform. And if you're here and you want to find out more about LinkedIn and how to use it more effectively, feel free to catch me off stage later. So my job at LinkedIn is as the head economist of APAC. And you might be wondering, why does LinkedIn APAC need an economist? So really, it all boils down to using the data that we have to create insights about the global economy and the trends that are emerging. So as you can see from the screen there, LinkedIn's economic graph is what we like to call it, and it's effectively a digital representation of the global economy. We've recently hit a huge milestone. We now have over 1 billion members on our platform, and using that data from this huge wealth of information, we can use it to understand the future trends and understand what kind of skills and what kinds of jobs are coming in the future.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Lawrence. I'm Director for AI Innovation in AI Singapore. For those who are not aware, AI Singapore is Singapore's national R&D office for AI. And in AI Singapore, we have several missions. One, we fund researchers to undertake state-of-the-art research in AI. Myself, we have programs to help companies accelerate their adoption of AI. And for AI talents, we have lots of training programs, apprenticeship programs, secondment programs to help both individuals and companies to actually build up their talent pool. One of the things that I'd like to say right now is that I have no AI talent problem. We have solved the problem. I'll be very bold about that, and I've been telling a lot of organizations how we have solved it. So I've built a nearly 98% Singaporean AI talent, starting with 4 to nearly 300. If I had the budget to employ all of them, I don't. So today, at any one time, I have 40 to 50 engineers in-house. Thank you.
Hi. My name is Olanut Lasuwankit, or you can call me Mimi, which is a Chinese nickname. I'm a serial entrepreneur and have exit the company, the startup company, for 2 companies already. So we have realized that what is the main pain point of the founder when they want to raise fund. So we set up TechSource as a platform, as a tech ecosystem builder, starting from the accelerator program, running the tech conference in Thailand, and also invest in the startup. So help the founders, whether they are at the early stage or the growth stage.
Thank you. Peng, let's just dive quickly, given that we have an economist on panel here. Please share with us some of the trends that you're seeing at a macro level in terms of global talent demand and supply, and then drilling it down to some of the specific skill sets across the regions as well.
Yeah, so I think we're all here to talk about, building a future-proof skill set. But I think it's really important. So it's really important for me to start by talking about skills and how quickly they've changed and how quickly they will continue to change. So our data shows that skills have changed by about 25% since 2015 until now. This was research done around last year, and 25% sounds like a lot. And our projections about a year and a half ago were that the skills are going to change by about 40 to 50% by 2030. So huge number, a lot of changes going on. And these are skills, we've done this comparison for skills by holding the same job constant, which means that even if you had the same job from now until 2030, you would still be seeing the skills that are needed for your job change by 40 to 50%. A huge number, right? And then 1 year ago, something came along. It's called generative AI. It's called ChatGPT.
What are you talking about?
I don't know what it is, but it's there. Yeah, so it came along and it just completely transformed everything. And so we revised our projections. We took a look at the data, and now instead of 40 to 50%, our estimate is that by 2030, skills required will change by 65%. So that is a huge, staggering amount. And so when we think and we start talking about a future-proof skill set, what does that mean? If your skill's going to change by 65% in the next 5 to 10 years, is there really a thing? Is there really such a thing called a skill set, a bunch of skills that are future-proof? I personally don't think so. But what I think is important is there are skills that help you to learn other things, right? There's agility, there's flexibility. And there are all these human skills about empathy, about communication, and these skills are not going away. And these skills are unlikely to be replaced by AI or by generative AI or by anything else, really. And on top of that, these skills will be able to augment the way in which we work with AI as a tool and increase our productivity. So I think when we talk about a future-proof skill set, I think that's kind of the context where I want to start.
I think this is where we need to have some input from Lawrence as well, given the statistics that Peng just shared, that it is going to change much more drastically, the skill sets required. And you mentioned, and you made a very positive statement earlier about you having solved more or less the AI talent problem in that sense. Share with us more on that, and specifically some stats would help as well.
I don't have stats. I'm an engineer. We just get work done. Now that Pei mentioned it, right? Building a future-proof skill set. I agree totally with her. I think what we really need is building a future-proof mindset rather than skill sets. Skills will change, okay? And with generative AI, like what I shared at another seminar yesterday, And again, I agree. 60-70% of your what you're doing now will have to undergo some form of transformation because of generative AI. But it's not so scary to think that, I actually need to go for a course, I need to go for a certificate, training and things like that. No. For majority of working professionals who are already using productivity suites, this generative AI will be embedded into the productivity suites. You'll be just using additional enhanced AI features in those suites. So, instead of copying and pasting your Word document into your PowerPoint slides or vice versa, you just ask the AI to do that for you. And along the way, summarize and even clean up your paragraphs. So is it totally a different set of skills? No, it is still about creating different type of documents, but now the way you do it is slightly different. So I think this is really going to be the most transformational thing that will happen for a lot of working professionals, where we are going to see 5x, 10x productivity improvement just based on AI being embedded into everyday tools that you use today. I'm not even talking about highly specialized AI products or solutions that you have to get engineers to build and so on and so forth. Just something as simple as your daily driver, your Office 365, your Google Docs, and so on. Once they have this fully baked in and you start using that, you become a tool that you will use. And I don't believe all of us needs to go for some certificate training to learn how to use or to use the new features in PowerPoint and in Google, right? So it's just like, I like to tell people, when Google search came out, who actually went for a course to learn how to use Google search? None of us did. After a while, we just knew how to use it. So, yes, it's going to be a new set of skills, but I don't think it's so scary that you need to be afraid of. So embrace the change that is coming. I have no shares in Google or Microsoft, but please make sure your organization buy the license to use it and so on. Because by saving on that $30 per seat, it's not really saving when your competitor is paying for that and getting 10x, 50x productivity.
Thank you. Those are very pertinent points, and which brings me to Nicola. From the things that Lawrence just explained, you are looking at a clear understanding of evolving mindsets, right? I mean, you are looking at someone to have the ability or the willingness to learn quickly and continually. So, how do you think that you can work with academics and other such continual education institutions to help drive that mindset?
Yes, thanks. First of all, I fully agree with Lawrence as well and everything that you said in terms of skill set adjusting for the existing workforce and people that we work with. And we like to think of ourselves as like a very young corporate, whatever that means. So like try to move as a startup, but still being quite a big company. But so we really have to adapt like in terms of skill set and who we work with. But it's also, it's I'm not going to say just another skill, but the Google search paragon was pretty good. So, like we work with academics and educational institutions for a long time. Originally we were a Croatian company. A lot of our engineering force is in Croatia and some other countries, mostly in Europe. And the talent there is really good. And we work with those institutions really, really for a long time. And now it's adapting that skill set. It's about them adapting that skill set, but also us helping them adapting that skill set as well. And we actually do that. We organize courses together with them as well. We participate in, or in America it would be sponsored courses or whatever. But it's actually the kind of skill set that we would need. And in terms of AI, which is not in the title of the topic, but it's going to be quite a big chunk of it, I think. In terms of AI, we had to reorganize very quickly. We had AI teams for a long time, but now, especially in the last year, since this, what did you call it? GPT? Generative. So since that came, you had to move really, really fast, and now we have the whole department actually focusing on really, and and it's kind of exciting, is deploying all these products with basically using AI. We have, as a company that does a lot of this, we have a lot of data as well. So applying this to what we do is we have 450 billion interactions a year with our platform. Just now, Black Friday is coming. I think on Black Friday we have, and the whole weekend we usually have about 6 billion interactions. So everything is shaking, but we survive. But basically now it's about using this data and then how to adapt this skill set to all this stuff and actually make the most out of it. We had some always questions about how to use this data better, and now this provides a lot of opportunity for us, right? So I think it's about being bold and not trying to be very careful about how you're going to engage with academics, with the technologies, with the partners, with the companies, with institutions of like the public society or civic society as well. The equivalent, it's in Croatia. We have a Croatian AI association and stuff like this. So we work a lot with them, for example. So we're trying to be really, really engaged. Not instead of taking a back seat and see like, oh, let's see what actually helps. What's going to happen? Is this technology going to stay? Should we put resources therein? So I think going gung-ho is probably the good strategy, maybe.
My team members from SFA are here, so we should probably think about an AI subcommittee as well, given it's how you've got it in Croatia as well. But with that, I think it's very important to have Mimi's views on this, given the way the technology has been evolving, and you come in with you introduce yourself as a serial entrepreneur. Can you be the same level of serial entrepreneur with the emerging technologies? Do they help you, or do you think that there can be many more senior entrepreneurs getting created quicker enough?
In terms of the entrepreneur, I think that the technology the opportunity is not a threat. Because, for example, we have seen a lot of the technology that come into our life, and we see that it is a great opportunity. How can we leverage the technology to solve the social problem? How can we use the technology to solve many problems that we are facing today? So we don't think that the technology is a threat, but how can we leverage it and make it as a tool? But totally agree with the other panelists that when we mention about mindset, skill set, and tool set, it can be expired. But the most important thing is the mindset. But for the entrepreneur, actually almost like 20 years, both my friend and also myself, I think the most important thing that how can we survive during the crisis situation, for example, like COVID, we call it the key message is, the keyword is a grit, Grit. Grit. Yeah. It's not about the passion. It's about the passion in the long term. This is the most important thing that the key success factor that the entrepreneur can survive. And another key success factor for the entrepreneur is because at the early stage we have realized that we do not invest in the solution, but we invest in the founder. So the founder, they should realize themselves that what is their strength, what is their weakness. So when we invest in the founder, we have to see, actually I have the tool to check their motivation, to check their it's quite similar to the Gallup Strength Finder. So before we invest in the startup, we have to check that do they have do they in terms of the ego, do they have a strong ego or not? Are they open to have the coach? Are they open for the mentorship? So this is really very important, because when we have seen that some founder they fail because, or some of the startup they fail because of the they don't open their mind, and they do not allow the VC to invest in them because they think that the VC will take the stake too much, or they don't want to do the partnership. So the most important thing is, I think, if is a founder, they have realized what is their strength and what is their weakness, so they can invite the VC or the other partner can help and complement each other and support each other. So I think this is the second thing that we have seen, that they should have the self, it's
self-improvement.
Self-improvement.
Yeah.
And the last one is the most important thing for the founder is unlearn and relearn. Mm-hmm. For example, like last week I have seen the OpenAI just launched the new product that called GPT Builder. Mm-hmm. And I say, oh my God, is this a new product again? It's coming out. And last 2 days, Microsoft also just launched the new service that called Copilot Builder, something like that. I cannot remember the name. But that means that if we think it is the threat, that means if you close our door, we don't have the opportunity to develop the new things. So unlearn and relearn is the most important mindset for the entrepreneur. And the last part is the empathy. And get the feedback from the customer is also the most important part. So the fourth thing, great self-understanding, unlearn and relearn. And the last part is, empathy, the customer.
Thank you. I think one of the very important questions that keeps coming to everyone's mind now, and this was a question that was asked earlier to our President Thurman as well, about the effect of AI and the new emerging technologies on the jobs, right? So we've talked about how founder skill sets are important. We have talked about how the current workforce is going to has to continuously learn and move forward, with the advent of new technology. But we have not covered it from a risk lens, right? So there's a question mark, and I think Yongliang also highlighted that there is some grim statistics that are there. Let's talk about that openly, and just hear your views on where do you think in the next 4 or 5 years, where do you think these skill sets are going to evolve in terms of their impact on the current workforce? So maybe we can start with Paying.
Yeah, so generative AI, I guess we're talking about AI and generative AI and its impact on the workforce, right? If we think about it, it's just like 10, 20 years ago when we had this whole digital transformation going on. A lot of people were worried back then, right? A lot of people were worried for their jobs. They were worried about what the change was going to mean for them. But then it came along, and as Lawrence said, a lot of these capabilities become inbuilt. They become part of how we do what we do. They become part of how we think and how we work. And I think that's really what's going to happen here. We're going to see AI and GI appear a lot, but we're also going to see opportunities where this technology helps to augment the way in which we work, where people learn to embrace and leverage these tools to make their work life more interesting, to make their work life more efficient. So as an economist and as a data scientist, one of the examples I like to give is data cleaning. So data cleaning is one of those things, nobody likes doing it. It is tedious, it is difficult, it is time consuming. And to the extent that tools like AI can help me to do it, I say, please take that part of my job away from me. I don't want it. I want to spend my time, creating hypotheses. I want to spend my time doing the problem-solving part of the job. So, I'm really excited to see what these new technologies can bring and transform the way in which we work.
Feel free to chime in.
I think as well, there shouldn't be any fear. It should just be everything is much faster, as we keep saying this. I don't know why this element of fear keeps being. I think it's good newspapers or good media, right? Like making good headlines about being afraid of AI taking jobs. Like
clickbait.
Clickbait, yeah. Probably written by some AI as well, So, but the idea is like that. We replaced horses with cars, and then we replaced ledgers with spreadsheets and etc. So it's eventually we really have to adapt. That's not a problem. The pace is much faster. That's true. So we really have to learn. But I think to someone who's starting to go to school now, like using ChatGPT or whatever, it's pretty ubiquitous. It comes pretty normal as it was for us to maybe engage with email or some much more basic tool. In terms of skill sets, there's going to be a lot of jobs that will disappear, and that's true. And then I know like legal researchers, paralegals, a lot of that. Cleaning data, translators. Like when it gets really good, translators. It's one point in my life I had to do translations. I hated it. It's like legal documents. It was so boring. But there's so many people that actually do translations. And then you suddenly. But it's not that these people suddenly going to be on the street. It's just being adapting and how you use these tools to actually translate and configure or write a clickbait or something like this. There's going to be one journalist behind writing 1,000 clickbaits, and then how to use that and test it, etc. So same for the business side. You can now, based on the data and how you can train, and basically people that create the tools are going to be in much more demand. But also people that use the tools like any other tool before. We had in technologies that we do now, we used all the data, and now one of the products we have is like chatbots, right? So we can deploy chatbots in any channel that you do, like I don't know, WhatsApp or your website and so on. And then now you can deploy it with a prompt, and just tell him like, build a relaxed, funny-sounding customer support chatbot for this and this shop. And based on the data, it just pulls it out. And then you can still tweak it and still needs a bit and actually using this tool. So people building this tool, people using this tool. But no one's going to go out, it's not that you're going to have 20% of the population running out of work now or something like this, right?
So I agree. That's my own personal opinion. To a certain extent, the augmentation is what it's all about, creating more efficiency in the work of people. So, for example, I must highlight this, given we are on talent stage. We just concluded the FinTech 100 hackathon yesterday, and it's an amazing forum where 100 plus teams from different polytechnics come for a major competition. And the quality of work they do in terms of bringing out the real world problems and coming out as a proper company, pitching for investment ideas as well. And out of those 100 plus, 5 are chosen finalists. Yesterday was the grand finals, and one of the teams won. The team that came second, if I'm not wrong, their focus was on helping financial advisors create these unique videos, personalized videos, based on somebody's current context. So it's for an insurance company that they built it for. So a financial advisor can ask the user or the customer to input their demands or their challenges with insurance, what they want to get insured. Whether they are, their conditions and so on. And then it creates a unique video for them with a very nice, I would say, interesting part to it. And then ultimately what it does is it creates ease of understanding from the customer side as well as the financial advisor side, whether he has to probably give a 100-page document to the customer otherwise. So that's a way where, the life of financial advisor is becoming easier. Maybe 20 customers that he was servicing in 1 month now becomes 50. Efficiency grows, everyone, and it's not a zero-sum game. It's actually a positive-sum game for everyone. So that's what I felt. Sorry, I'm just behaving as a panelist instead of a moderator here. And I am actually running very high on adrenaline for the past 3 days. So bear with me if I have some long pauses. But yeah, so that's to it. So with that, I'll bring it to the man who's responsible for AI.
Yeah, so, I agree, right? And I'll make another statement, right? For most of you sitting here, please don't go and learn Python programming. You learn Python programming if you want to actually become a software engineer and build applications and so on and so forth. If you want to learn Python programming because you want to analyze data, as you can go and talk to Pay, right? There's much better tools that will allow you to clean and slice your data and even analyze data without a single line of Python coding. So when you see all those advertisements that say come and learn Python programming and become a data analyst in 3 months, don't waste your money. Okay? There are much better tools that allow you to do data analysis. And today, with generative AI, what you need to know is how to ask the right questions of your data sets. Because the generative AI, the ChatGPTs will do the analysis for you. Okay, today you can upload a data file and say, please, do a specific actions to clean the data sets and so on. And I want to classify or I want to predict something. You need to know the lingo. So what you should be focusing on learning is how to analyze data. But that doesn't mean you need to learn Python programming, right? A lot of people get confused on that. So that's a very important point because there's a lot of misconception out there to say that everyone please go and learn Python programming. If you have spent 3 months, 6 months struggling to learn Python programming, sorry, your effort is wasted because today ChatGPT can just do that for you already.
Lawrence, since you're on that, I need to ask you this question. You talked about how people should be asking the right questions, but there's a question that always comes is about hallucinations, right? The AI hallucination, not individual hallucinations. How does somebody train themselves to be cautious of the information that is coming to them? I mean, we all know about the fake news, how it affected the democracies and so on. In fact, President Thaman, I'm going to quote him again, he mentioned that in his speech also, that is what he's really scared about, it causing unexpected outcomes for democracies just because, somebody else has control over how the information is being disseminated. So the same question still, how does one build that skill set to be able to, validate the information as well?
So ChatGPT or any of these LLM tools does not replace your domain knowledge. You have to remember, the tool just allow you to get an answer or summary of something that you actually already know or you should know. But it produces it in a format that is, maybe 70-80% of the way done for you, but you have to validate the facts. So it doesn't. You cannot run away from the fact that I don't know and I just ask ChatGPT to tell me. You must already know, but ask ChatGPT to tell you the outputs in a way that formatted in a way, arranged in a way that is for your use case, for your presentation, for your document, and so on and so forth. But you must still know the domain. So that's why there are people asking, right? Oh, with ChatGPT, do we still need kids to go to school? Absolutely. Do you still need to read? Absolutely. But obviously, don't read the fake news. So you still need to know the domain. There will be tools, there will be regulations out there to say, I think eventually, for every image or every document out there, it will be somehow fact-checked, stamped, and so on, that you know that this is not a fake news. Okay? So this is where, regulation, where the big tech needs to come together and try to at least stop fake news from flooding the internet. But again, right, what is so-called fake or not aligned with your beliefs may not necessarily be not aligned with someone else's beliefs. So that is something, totally not about AI.
Thanks, Lawrence. So, Mimi, I need to come to you quickly on this. You talked about the 4 areas that you look for in founders, right? Create, learn, and unlearn, but 2 more. Do you look for your founders to have this, for the lack of a better word, common sense to actually figure that out from, because that is a very important aspect, right? You can have founders who can have a very nice view of their own, business model, but they may not actually foresee some of those challenges. Is that something that you look for in your founders as well?
We call it like critical thinking. The critical thinking is including like problem solving, including analytical thinking, the communication, and also like decision making as well. So I think it's not come from, we have to talk to them when we invest in a founder. We just do not like, okay, listen to that demo day at the demo day or listen just that page. But what we will do is we will have, when we invest in a startup, it's quite similar to like get married together. So we will have lunch, we will have dinner together and talk to and ask them like a friend so we can understand that what they are thinking about. How can they tackle when they have the problem. So these are the way how can we communicate and understand the founder instead of using just the tool or doing some of the testing. So the critical thinking is very important. But this is for the founder part. But I think one of the most important thing to help us understand this company, we should invest or not. The one way is we will trying to not just only see the founder, but we will see N-1 as well. We can like cross check about the team. We can cross check about the customer perspective for this company.
So if I were to say your most important analysis is on the human element of it.
Exactly, not just only the solution.
So business solution is an important aspect, but human element is the most important part, which is where I want to bring it to Paying. Some of the statistics that we have seen, in our report and other reports also, is that the diversity is a problem, right? And the diversity at the working level, the senior management level, the board level, not just in fintech, across industries. I will say that, our industry definitely needs improvement, and we have shown that in our talent report also, that there is still huge scope. But it's across various industries, and LinkedIn being, LinkedIn. What's your view and some of the things that you think will have to change from a skill set perspective? And I'm not talking about women here. I'm talking about actually the males. How do you build? Where do you see you can build more male allies who can help drive this agenda to bring more, equal, balance across?
So, I think you're right? We see this gender divide across a lot of different industries, some more starkly than others. FinTech specifically, huge gap. Our data, we've looked at it before, it's about 70% male, 30% female. So that's the FinTech space, right? And then the research that you were talking about talked about only 13% of leaders in FinTech are female. Right, and so if you think about it, if you put these numbers together, what does that then tell you? It tells you that not only is the representation of women low in this industry, we just use fintech as an example for this conversation, right? Not only is the representation of women low, the representation of women in leadership is even lower. And consistently, our research at LinkedIn across all industries, no matter where we look, we see a very steep drop-off that happens as people progress up the career ladders, right? So an industry, for example, that at the entry level it might have like 50-50 males and females. When you get up to senior leadership levels, number drops. The number drops down to 20-30%. We see that consistently, no matter which industry you look at.
So, what skill sets do men need so that this doesn't happen?
So I think I don't think there's a specific skill set. It's really like, what we've been talking about a lot in this panel. It's being human, it's empathy. And I was very happy to see the summary just now at the beginning where you talked about having mentorship here. You talked about having mentees understand, because I think this kind of mentorship, this kind of networking, allyship, that's really where a lot begins, right? That's really where we begin to start unpacking and trying to improve diversity across all industries.
Nicola, I really want some of your comments there.
Well, both on the AI part and the diversity part, I think it's definitely... So one thing, as you guys were talking, that came to my mind thinking of in terms of any organization is robustness, right? So but robustness in terms of being very adaptive in whatever you do. So that means vertical and horizontal, perhaps. So that means if you want to adapt, of course, your engineering force has to adapt to all the things. But also, for example, your sales teams, they are very happy to sell AI stuff, even they don't maybe necessarily understand it. We had the situations where we already started selling AI features without really being deployed. But then also maybe necessarily the HR department that has to hire these kind of people. I know the tech people are often questioning the relevance of the HR department, but they really have to, if they exist, they really have to support this. and they also have to be on board. If there's one wheel along, on this chain is not really working, if, for example, the HR team is not really agile in terms of learning what skills they have to look for, what kind of people they have to look for, if they are like 1 year behind, then the whole concept falls apart, right? So that's in terms of this. And then this enables a whole new creativity level that is actually brought to the organization. Whatever the organization is, whatever the size of it is. Obviously, bigger organizations move slower, smaller move faster. And then there's diversity that's almost a no-brainer. I mean, maybe it's not interesting for a panel that we all agree on everything, so maybe someone thinks something different. But there's numerous studies that prove that actually companies that have more diverse workforce, that more diverse leadership teams are actually more successful. It's a conscious effort you have to maybe adapt to as whatever you do in the organization to actually try and change that. Because humans are built this way. In a way, it's natural that you bring your own kind in, or that you bring people similar to you. To be fully transparent, we are a super international company. We have employees from 72 plus countries, I think, or so. All these offices, so very, very diverse. But the headquarters is still in Croatia, and probably I think 60-70% of our board is still Croatian. So it's not that we want to exclude other people. It's just that it kind of comes natural. Those people were there from the beginning. But you have to make a conscious effort to at all levels, right? And then the higher you go, the harder it is. But the benefits are unquestionable. It's like a no-brainer. So everyone should really, really try and make an effort from the academias onwards, right? From school.
Yeah,
actually.
I mean, he talked about everyone making a conscious effort, and that just reminded me of something of unconscious bias, because I think that's the challenging part, right? Like you don't know it's there; it's just unconscious. And I think a lot can be done in terms of training, in terms of programs.
It's not in bad faith necessarily. It's like sometimes it's in neutral faith or something.
Yeah. But there are things that can be done, right? Firstly, making people aware, and teaching. How do you counter unconscious bias in things like hiring practices or promotion discussions and things like that. And I do think that's also another place to start.
And I just want to add, right? Especially for those hiring manager and HR out there. You are trying to hire for AI talent, just look for the skills. Really, going back to the skills, do they have the skills to do the job? Don't even bother looking at what they studied in the university. It's not relevant. Okay? In AI Singapore, our apprenticeship program, our AI engineers, our AI apprenticeship, only about 20-25% are computer science. The rest are engineers, accountants, lawyers, economists, teachers, and so on. And they go on to, some of them go on to do their PhD in AI. A lot of them become very good AI engineers that have deployed world-class products and solutions for companies. What we really want to look for, right, is the skills and whether they have the passion for data and whether they have, like what Mimi said, to think through the problem and problem solve the customer's issue at hand. And sometimes, if it's an accounting problem, what better than an accountant who is now super interested in AI and have now AI skills solving that problem? But he brings domain expertise to the table, which a computer science graduate will have no interest in accounting at all.
Last question, while we're running out of time. Just one word answer to, in your opinion, what's the most future-proof skill set? We didn't talk about it, we didn't discuss it, but just want to hear that. Most future-proof skill set in your opinion?
Has to be one word, right? Adaptability.
I'll give 2 words to you.
Speed and adaptability.
Empathy.
Always learning.
Also, critical thinking.
This is a perfect example of what ChatGPT or generative AI wouldn't have been able to get for you. So this is what I wanted to explain, and end with. Thank you very much to all of you for listening. I hope you got some good takeaways from it, and I don't want to summarize what they just said. Thank you.